I've just thought, I'm sick of being where I'm at.
That's it.
I'm no further along all right, you want the thing, it was to realise that, hang on, it's not the big house, it's not the big car, it's not me being able to show off shiny things and be able to tell someone I've done this that is the measure of my success.
Yeah.
It's my personal growth.
Yeah.
That is it. That's the moment.
Yeah.
And unless I do something about that,
Yeah.
I'll always be here.
Yeah. So, could you please go back to those? We're only going to touch and taste them just for a little while.
I don't mind.
Let's go back to those days, because I then want you to answer the question whether you believe that these depressive clouds, what do you believe? Are they genetic or were they environmentally fueled?
I don't know, but what I put into my environment could very well have an impact here. Look,
We better find out about that environment. What was it?
Bertie, I was a pot smoker. I was a stoner.
For a day?
No, for a couple of decades.
What?
For a couple of decades.
For 20 years?
At least. Probably slightly longer. I smoked pot every single day.
Mate, Bob Dylan.
Guess what? You want to know the funny thing, Bernie?
Go for it.
You know, it's material things that we set as the measures of success. You do this, they're actually going to come anyway.
Yeah.
But they're a byproduct of it. And look, that doesn't mean that someone who isn't working on personal growth can't achieve amazing things with material. But I'm telling you, you take this path, they'll come anyway. But that's not your mission.
They'll come anyway if we want them.
If you want them.
If you want them. What is love to you now? How do you see love?
Look, I'm going to give it to you in one sentence. That may sound cliched, but it's not when you really think about it. And if you listen to what we've talked about today, it's bringing light to darkness. Because it's easy to bring light to light.
Yeah.
Bring light to darkness. That's where you bring, let's say, positivity to negativity. Light to darkness says it so much better, but I'm trying to explain if people are out there wanting to think it. Where there is darkness, you bring light no matter how hard it is.
Mate, guess what? I got water in the eyes. Well, dear people, you just joined yet another episode of A Journey with Bernie, and I'm so grateful that you've chosen to be with us on this particular episode, because have we got some great things to announce. We're going visual, folks, and it's all due to you, Adam Bell. Adam Bell, say hi to our listeners, please.
Hello, everyone.
Mate, we're going visual, and where are we? What's this studio all about? I've not been here before. Tell me about it.
It's exciting, isn't it, Bernie? Mate, you're in the Pod Pro Australia studios. You're on camera. You're welcome to the world of visual podcasting, mate. It should have been here earlier, but you're here now. And but look, it's time to tell the listeners. You've been listening on Spotify. You've been listening on your favourite podcast platform. It's time to head over to YouTube.
Wow.
And watch the podcast.
Mate, I feel as if you're taking me into another world, mate.
I am.
At 64 years of age, I didn't expect to know this world.
No, I am. And look, it's a whole new journey for A Journey with Bernie. And mate, from here on in, you can now listen on your favourite platform, but watch on YouTube.
Now, I can share with you, with most of the episodes, with these beautiful guests that I've had in the last, 40 to 50 episodes, they have produced for me around about what I call 15 excerpts.
Okay.
Now, excerpts mean great periods of learning, great moments of learning. So when they go to YouTube from now on, do they get the entire podcast?
They get the entire podcast from start to finish. It's not just excerpts. It's like just burn. All it is, mate, is you're hearing the same as if you went and listened to the podcast. It's just that you're seeing our two beautiful faces at the same time.
Well, mate, I might be. I think we're both in that category.
Maybe I've overstated that a little. But
this is wonderful. You also said a magical word before about the importance of subscribing and following. Can you elaborate on that for us, please?
Sure. Look, on whether you're listening or whether you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the share button. And look, the other thing we want, Bernie wants feedback, okay? Leave a comment. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think of every single episode. It may look, especially on Spotify, the more comments you leave and the more engagement you have in hitting share gives this opportunity to get this out to more people. You're listening because you love, the content that Bernie brings you. So help us get the word out and get it to more people. So what we want is subscribe. We want to like and we want to share and we want to comment. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely wonderful. You've got a remarkable story, but I want you to please start, if you don't mind, with why are you in this business? What is this business of podcasting and bringing information to the global audience? What does all this mean to you? Why are you here, Bellick?
Look, I'm in podcasting now because I just believe it's the one platform that allows our energy to be shared to the listeners, to the viewers.
Yeah.
I'm in podcast marketing for businesses. So traditionally marketing for businesses has been ads, it's been words, it's been short videos. But in so many small businesses is that you use them because of the small business person that you like. If it's your massage therapist, if it's your business coach, you use them because of them. You create that connection, you create that relationship. Now, and do you know why that is, Bernie? Because your two energies align.
Yeah,
that's how any relationship starts, because your energies align. You know, when you walk into a room and you don't feel the energy and there's someone you don't want to, that's because your energies don't align. Now, bringing that to the world of marketing, bringing your energy to be able for a potential client to be able to connect with, you can do that through a podcast. I'm telling you, your listeners can feel your energy. Well, they can feel your guest's energy, and when they're watching on YouTube, they get even more. So I bring that to marketing. So there are so many small businesses out there who aren't in the online world, and I'm here because I want to bring them a new form of marketing that can help them grow their businesses, and that is to bring their energy.
But in this particular case, of course, I'm not actually asking you, and we understand this, so much to promote my business as it is the message. There's such a commitment in A Journey with Bernie, the podcast, around teaching people actions and strategies, routines, disciplines, ways of seeing the world that help them to become a more loving human being. Now, why? Well, it's a reflection of the owner of the podcast. It's a reflection of the Bernie here, right here. In that we exist in this world to go on that beautiful pathway to find greater happiness within ourselves, not to be relying on things outside of us, but to be able to generate our own inner happiness so that we can make the world that we touch a better place by making it a more loving environment. But we have to be that love in the first place. And why do all this? Well, who doesn't want to answer the question about what brings meaning to our lives? So you've just enthralled me, because what you've said is that through the world of podcasting, we can bring the energy of that mission, the tone and the enthusiasm, the passion for that pathway. We can bring that to the globe.
I can give you a very easy analogy to prove that to you, Bertie. Everything you just said, and listen to the passion that you're giving, listen to the energy that you've just given to that description. Now, if that was in the written word and you're writing this in a book,
you're spot on.
Is the recipient of that going to get the same feeling that they're getting listening or watching you right now? There it is right there. It's the podcasting, you feel it. You can, and it will invoke emotions. It will, the written word can and does do things, but it's not like this, is it?
Yeah, yeah. And I do say this humbly, because I don't have any need to promote myself. But if I have one piece of feedback from all the episodes so far, is that there seems to be an acclamation around the tone and the energy and the enthusiasm and the passion for what this podcast is all
Mate,
about.
I can feel it. The room is buzzing.
Well, mate, I want to thank you ever so much, because we met at a business network meeting. Yes,
We did.
Yes.
We did.
And since then, we've had this beautiful connection around possibilities. Hey, you're coming to Nepal with me. Have we announced that?
You haven't announced that. And I can't wait.
Why? Why can't you wait? Why did you want to grab that opportunity? Why was it important to Adam Bell?
Look, it's something we'll probably dive in a little later, but I believe opportunities come for reasons, and that this whole journey of life, when you put things out there, you are the creator of what's been happening. And I've been doing a lot of work on myself recently, and, travel is one of those things that I've been putting out there. Now, did I know this opportunity was going to pop up? Absolutely not.
No.
And had you laid out 300 places to go and had the choice, Nepal probably would have been at the very back end. There's the Maldives, mate.
Europe and Paris.
Europe and Paris. I haven't been to New York. That's still up there. But look, I also know and have heard and have this feeling around the spiritual side of what people experience in Nepal with what you do and the trekking and so forth. So when this did come along, you told me a little bit about it, mate.
Yeah.
This is right for me at this particular time in my life.
Oh, now we're getting to the story, Adam.
And this will bring far more than, because look, I'll tell you, Bernie, the other thing I was considering just at this time and was ready to book, but there were certain things that didn't happen. And I was going to book a week in Vietnam with my best mate. Yeah. And look, that would have been fun. It would have been great. We probably would have got drunk 5 nights out of the 7. Yeah. We would have seen a lot of cool stuff, learned a bit about the culture.
A little bit.
But what is that going to bring me versus what is it the 21 days in Nepal with what's on your amazing program? Yeah. What am I going to walk away with? I'll still go to Vietnam with him sometime in the future.
But for different reasons. Yeah.
But this, at the time in my life with the path I'm on right now, this fits.
Well, when I told you about the journey of Nepal, I would have inferred something like this. I want you to imagine working with 550 disabled children. I want you to know that in 2015 their school was eliminated through the earthquakes of Nepal. And I have said this on the podcast before, and I say it with some reservation, but in a way the earthquakes did them a little bit of a favour. Okay. Because by taking away those antiquated buildings that they had, we were able to step in and be a catalyst for a brand new school. You're going to be teaching with those kids. That community of Kagandra, they love us for what we did. We love them. And so you're going to be part of that environment and that experience. And they are going to team us together, because there's nothing like a group of participants from all over this country, maybe even the globe, who might decide to join us in April next year. There's nothing like serving together that actually teams people. And then where are we going to take that team? On the mighty trek to Everest Base Camp, through around about 30 different Nepalese villages, learning the way of Sherpaism. I do think, I keep on saying this before, they may be the most peaceful tribe of people upon our planet. Possibly because, well, when you see what they're surrounded by, I'm talking about the Himalayas, that has to affect your soul. But they're also founded in Buddhism. So when you've got the power of the Himalayas, most powerful force of nature upon planet Earth possibly, coupled with Sherpaism and Buddhism, well, Belly, this ain't getting drunk in Vietnam.
No.
This is getting drunk in the spirit of life
And humanity.
And mate, I'm looking at your face now, and you knew that this is the ambience. You knew this is the calling, and you said yes, but you also said it's timely at this stage of your life. I want you to elaborate on that. Why does that so appeal to you, and why is it important to you now? Who are you now, Adam Bell?
Look, I've been embarking on certain habitual things in my life to enable growth. And I think I've said to you before, Bernie, the one and only measure of my success in life, of anyone's success, but I've found this now, is my own personal growth. And I've really stepped into that in recent times. We're talking the last 2 to 3 months.
Wow. Okay.
And we can get into other areas here of, the power of attraction, the law of attraction, etc., etc. However, I've been doing daily habitual things. I've got a 12-point checklist that I've even got a scorecard on it of 100 things that I need to tick off per week, and how many ticks I get is actually a score out of 100.
This 12-point checklist, what's that about?
It's about the 12 points of things I need to do daily to live a better life and become a better human being.
Okay, you better give us a couple of them.
Well, meditation.
Okay. What does meditation look like for you? And when do you do it?
Look, having not had a huge amount of experience with meditation, I'm still learning. Yeah. I'm getting better at it. But look, I've got an app that just guides me through it, and it's a fantastic app. It's got all sorts of different types of meditation.
Name it. Is it calm?
It's not. It's balance.
Okay.
It's balance. And it's phenomenal. It steps you up and it teaches you various different techniques and all sorts of techniques, and you can choose different ones for different times of the day. It asks you how you're feeling. Are you anxious? Are you happy? Are you sad at the moment? And it will then tailor the meditation to the time of day, how you're feeling, and various other things that it asks.
What's the benefit of that to you?
Look, the benefit to me is I always feel better after I've done it.
Wow.
And it also stops and brings you back, because whether you call it our ego, whether you call it our mind, that takes over during the day, and you forget that you're just an observer of those things. But once you're in it, you forget that. And this allows me, every time I go back to meditation, that hang on, step back. Yeah. Life's just an experience of things that are going past and doing every day. But when you're in it, you feel as though that's all encompassing and all important, but it's not.
Do you want to learn more about it quickly, about the power of meditation?
Sure.
Mate, you got to do a Vipassana. A Vipassana, the 10-day silent retreat.
See, you want to know how the mind gets you. Do you want to know the first thing that popped into my mind there? But now I'm learning how to recognise that. The first thing was, what's that and how much that going to cost?
Well,
see, that's human. That's your human mind. How much is that going to cost?
That's the conditioning, mate, isn't it? Hey, that's the conditioning. Yeah.
So why does my mind come up with that? With that. With that question, when you say, not like, well, how's that going to benefit me?
Well, because you trained it for 48 years. But now you're wanting to manage it. Now, the Vipassana program, if you look it up on Google, you're going to find that it's a worldwide movement, and very, very simply, supposedly in inverted commas, things must change over 2,000 years, but supposedly it was the same meditative process that Buddha used for 9 years. Okay. I think the only thing different is I think he was doing it at every hour, every day for 9 years. Right. And so he finished up in a space that was called enlightenment. We don't need to go there.
Yeah. And just out of interest, how much does that cost?
Nothing. You ready for this? Well, nothing.
No, I get it.
It is seriously, mate. It's nothing. It's totally done by donation.
Right.
So at the end of it, you decide. And this includes your accommodation and your meals.
Wow.
So if you decide to pay nothing at the end of it, that is your choice.
Yep.
Naturally enough, people come out of it with a wow of an experience, and a mind that is so open to new possibilities, and a recognition of that perfect energy that you were talking about.
Sure.
I'm thinking of doing it again. I've already done it the once, and I've already been back as a server to the program. So that's my second experience. But I'm thinking of going back to Nepal in November, December, just privately, and I'm thinking of doing one in either Nepal or India. Same program that's available here in Australia. It's also available in the Americas. It's available in Europe, Africa, etc., etc. So highly recommended to it. But you got me curious, mate. That's just one of the 12. I've got to ask for another 2 or 3.
Okay. Well, the first one is, look, I've always been a sleeper-innerer.
Yeah.
So the next one is up before 6 a.m., bed made, curtains open.
Does that depend upon what time you went to sleep?
Look, this is my checklist. This is, ultimately, I'd like to be able to tick off and do 100%. Am I getting up before 6? Even now, having started for, I'm less than a month into my full checklist.
Yeah.
Am I getting up before 6 every day yet?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But am I doing it more than before the checklist?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yes, it does still depend on what time I go to bed. But this is for me to get better.
Yeah.
So that's another one. The next one. And this is the hardest 30 seconds of my day, Bernie.
Yeah.
And but I'm going to tell you what it is in a minute, but I stand there for 30 seconds before I do this.
Yes.
Looking at it going, all right.
We could have children listening, Adam.
It's a cold shower. So I turn on the cold, and then you're standing in front of it, you can feel it on your toes.
Yeah.
So you can feel how cold it is, and I have to work myself up to it. And I'd just say, remember to breathe, remember to breathe. It's the same thing as an ice bath, and you would have, anyone out there looking at personal development, it's been proven there's all sorts of benefits to this. Don't ask me to explain them to you. But before the checklist, I knew I wanted to do this. I knew I wanted to do it. I knew that there would be benefits. Did I do it once? No, I never did it once. Do you know, since I've done the checklist, I'm now doing it 3 to 4 times a week. Again, I haven't quite. There are certain days I just go, no, I can't do this today. All right. But I did it this morning.
Yeah.
And you jump in, it's and then slowly and then you get it all over, and it's about 2 minutes, and then turn on and I remind myself that this is only 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes of your day. There are benefits that I absolutely believe.
What is the benefit to you, bud? You're recognising its value, but what can you actually say by you doing that? You feel this benefit. What is that benefit,
mate? In terms of the benefits, there's physiological benefits. There's mental health benefits. Can I feel and notice? See, I'm doing a whole range of things now. So what am I getting from what I don't know? But I absolutely know and believe that this has benefits. It raises your cortisol, and if you want to look at it scientifically, do that research. I'm not going to be the one to tell you exactly.
But we should Google it.
Yeah, absolutely. And but look, for me at the moment, it's commitment to doing something and to change. That's the benefit I'm getting out of it. I look back now after a week and say, I did that 4 mornings a week. Yeah. I know how hard that is for me to do.
Sure.
So it's the growth in myself that I've committed to doing it, and I've started doing it. So that's the measurable benefit for me in my conscious mind at the moment. Yeah. But I also know and absolutely trust and believe there's all sorts of physiological and mental and emotional benefits.
I like what you're saying, because you said really it's the collective value. It's the meditation. It's the getting up before 6. It's the cold shower, and it's the collection of all of those that add so much value. Dear people, this is not an interruption to the podcast. It is a beautiful invitation for you to join A Journey with Bernie, April 2024 in Nepal, to experience Kathmandu, Kagandra Vocational School for 550 disabled children, and of course, the magnificent Himalayas. The spirit of Nepal will invade your soul, the peace and the calm of the people. It's not something you can just get anywhere. You will learn so much from your experiences around Kathmandu. And of course, that mighty adventure, that wonderful, glorious trek to the magnificent Himalayas, where you will have a first-hand encounter with Sagarmatha, Mother Goddess herself, Mount Everest. Dear people, this is unforgettable. This is an experience that will invade every fibre of your body. It is not possible to return as the same person that left. +61 412 982 444. Text me, dear people. Text me on that number and I will have an information kit to you. Your private invitation to join us in April 2024. Nepal is calling you. I'm actually hearing that all of these suggestions, and they're wonderful suggestions, Adam, because they are actions that anybody listening to this podcast can actually decide to take and say, I'm going to implement that too into my life, because I believe that there may be benefits to me.
Absolutely.
But my awareness says that every one of those actions that you've just mentioned, meditation, gratitude, getting up early before 6 o'clock, etc., it actually makes you more aware of the greater spirit of you, and that you are far more than what you allow your mind to keep on telling you. Absolutely. When it's in an uncontrolled state. You are giving control and awareness to yourself to be able to choose what is important and valuable to you.
But it's the checklist that has gotten me to actually do it, because that's my accountability. Because at the end of the week, I've got a score, and I know each week I've got to make my score higher. Because that's going to make me a better person. It's going to make me overall happier, and it's going to make me be able to give more to everyone. So back to the daily grind, you've got to step out and look, because we don't get off autopilot for a minute.
Yeah, I think there's the key, mate. There's the key. Get off autopilot.
Because we all
become
are.
Aware.
Yep.
Become aware.
Because it's then your autopilot driving you. It's your conditioning. It's your programming, and whether that be good or bad. That's what's driving until you step back. That's why meditation is so good, because
beautiful, mate. Beautiful.
So.
Oh, Adam, I'm finding this wonderful stuff, because for our listeners, you're actually a living personification of some actions and some strategies and routines. It's almost in my mind that the 12 checklist that you've got, put them all together, that is your desired routine. I think by admission you're not living every one of them every day. Every day. Not. But what would happen to you if you did?
This is what I'm excited to find out. Because, look, let's even wind back a bit. I've created another one on my list is to read my main goal, which is the 12-point checklist 3 times a day. Okay, which I do. I'm doing that pretty well at the moment. Not every day yet, but so the goal is the goal I've set is it's a 100-day goal. And I created this checklist, as I said, that gives.
You created it?
I created it.
You didn't thieve it from the app? Huh?
No, but I've. All of the things on
that's
it.
True. That's true.
I've
that's true.
gotten from podcasts and everything else. They're all the same. You listen to these things; they're all there. So my goal is to continually improve and improve my score and embed these daily habits into my life over 100 days, so that by the end of the 100 days, the goal actually says that I'm getting a score of 85 or more consistently every week, and that I've embedded this into my life, and they are now normal. So that I don't need a checklist, so that I just do these things forever. Because you ask what I'm going to get at the end of it. I know, well, look, my goal with this, and we'll probably explore this a little more, Bernie, I've had a real journey with depression in my life.
We're going to come to that.
I've spent days when I say days, weeks in bed where I haven't been able to get out.
Yeah.
Been in a really dark place. My goal here is for this to rid me forever
Wow.
of depression.
I want to ask at the moment whether you actually believe that it could actually eliminate any medical support that you have had or are still relying
Absolutely,
on.
I think it can.
You go, wow. However, rather than just leave it at the moment, may I just say that I can see when you embed these 12 actionable possibilities and they are part of your life, surely it moves you towards being, in your words, that perfect energy that you were talking about
Much closer
before.
to it.
Let's just say closer. Welcome to humanity. I hope I never get there. I hope you never get there. Otherwise, guess what? We've got to leave this life if you're going to be that perfect energy.
Yep.
However, to be able to be aware of that perfect energy, to be able to live it more while being in this earthly existence, I consider that a little bit of a wow. In fact, I think I consider it mainly the purpose of this podcast. That is, when you are a truly, deeply loving human being, one capable of generating your own inner happiness, but still having a beautiful existence upon this planet and spreading it to our global brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that mate, I've got a feeling that's where we're both talking about here.
For sure.
But we've got to go back to what you were saying, because you've had a catalyst to place you on this pathway so that you can identify these 12 principles to act in your life. You spoke about a depressive existence, a depressive past.
Yeah, look.
Tell us more about it.
Okay. I've effectively suffered from depression my whole life. When I say my whole life, when did I first know it was depression? Late 20s.
That's interesting.
That I knew it was.
Yeah.
Had I probably been suffering from it for a long time up to that point? I think so, but didn't know what it was, didn't recognise it. Maybe it wasn't as severe. But I do remember, I guess, a doctor telling me I had depression.
As a youngster?
No, this was and that's when I first started to think, oh, so that's why I feel shit all the
Right,
time.
yeah.
That's why. But it was later on that the big, deep depressive episodes came. And this is where, look, I'll describe depression for people out there and what it's... Look, everyone's is different, but my experience of it is this. And I'm talking about I describe my depressive episodes as, their length and their depth. So are they short and shallow? Or are they long and deep, or a combination of both? And I've had long, deep ones, and they're the worst ones.
Yeah.
And in my life now, they still come, but they're much shorter and shallower.
Okay.
But when you're in a long, deep depression, I wake up in the morning, and it's literally 3 seconds before you say, I'm awake. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Here I am again. And you feel a physical thing come across your body. There's instant anxiety. There's instant, oh God, I've got to go through another day. Oh God, is there any chance I can go straight back to sleep here because I don't like this feeling?
Yeah.
And all you want to do is sleep.
Yeah.
You're tired, and there's the only way I can describe it, and to someone who hasn't been there, you just don't comprehend. There's this feeling of no hope. No hope for anything, no excitement about anything. Why am I here? And I wish I wasn't here.
Wow.
And it's just absolutely demoralising, and it's just hours of a day where you lie there thinking, I just do not want to be here. Now that's different to being suicidal. I've never been suicidal, but I've definitely been...
Gee, it sounds as if you're on the... You were tasting it.
Look, no, I won't say that, because the doctors always ask you, have you thought about taking it, every time you go and talk about them. And the answer is no. I never once thought, shall I go grab this? Shall I go do that? There was never any thought of taking any action. It was just an overwhelming feeling of, I do not want to be on this earth. I wish I wasn't here. But not
to the point of action.
Yeah, no, never to the point of action. But I realise people, and I can understand how people do, and it happens. It's still an epidemic out there.
I've got the funniest question, Adam. What stopped you from moving to the point of action? Can you identify in any way whether there was something acting for you that actually stopped thought? And often thought does become action. Was there anything there that you can identify that actually stopped thought from becoming the ultimate action?
Maybe not. Look, family would be the only thing that I could maybe say. You know, the thought of my kids and my parents.
Wow.
In that, and what it would leave them with, it comes across my mind occasionally. But look, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know what other people go through who do move to action, and what are there levels of depression and different types that affect the brain a different way. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for me, it never got to a point of I want to and I'm going to end this. It's just I wish I wasn't here.
Yeah, I get you, mate. To hear that you say, however, family, your children, of course, I don't know them, but I only hear one thing that's in common with both of them, and that is love.
Absolutely.
It's almost as if love for those people, love as an entity, and recognition that you still had love to give could have been the one force that stopped fairly desperate thinking from becoming a disastrous action. Love may have been the winner there.
No, absolutely. And if you want to come back to the 12-point checklist, which everything comes back to the 12-point checklist, I write out 2 to 3 affirmations that actually physically write them out. This is another one on the checklist. Fold up that bit of paper. Put it into my pocket. And the main one that is always there and never changes is, I am love, I live in love and light. And you know why I write it out and put it in my pocket every day? And that's just so, because how many times you touch your pocket, you put your hand in there, and every time I feel that bit of paper and I want to put that thought back through my mind. And if I'm not around anyone, I'll even say it.
Well, the other reason why you do it too, Adam, surely, is because you actually realise that you are perfect energy.
And that's exactly, and that's why, and it's to remind me, no matter, let's just say the worst possible thing that could possibly happen, and you touch that and you think, I've got to bring love to this scenario.
Yeah.
It's easy to bring it to something good, to something where you're joyful, that's something where everyone's happy. It's easy to bring it there.
Yeah.
The challenge is to bring it when it's not there, to bring it to a scenario where there is no love.
So how good are you these days?
I'm getting better.
Of bringing love to those scenarios where you have the short and the shallow. You speak about the possibility of still some depressive moments or depressive times, but you describe them now as short and shallow. How good are you at bringing love to those moments so it can rescue you out of that existence?
Not real good at all.
Aren't you good, mate?
Not real good at all.
Yeah.
And look, is this me making excuses that I should be able? Hang on, but no, I'm asking myself the question.
Yeah.
It's a rhetorical question here. It's an interesting question that you ask because it's making me think.
Great.
But when you're there, when you're in this episode, you feel as though you have no power to bring that there's this, I call it this dark cloud, Bernie, that comes down across. If you can imagine, let's just, picture this. When you wake up in this dark, thick, black cloud, let's just imagine it just the size of two helmets. And when that comes there, you feel as though you can't bring anything because there's this fog, there's this something there that stops you to be able to bring, no matter how much consciously you want to do it. That's how I describe depression.
I got you.
And it's like that wake up thing, it's 3 seconds before the cloud goes boom, and then you're stuffed. Or you feel as though you are.
Now, mate, you did give me the privilege earlier on of making me smile about your younger days. Apparently, they were pretty joyful at times.
Look.
You explored a few different avenues. So, could you please go back to those? We're only going to touch and taste them just for a little
I don't
while.
mind.
Let's go back to those days, because I then want you to answer the question whether you believe that these depressive clouds, what do you believe? Are they genetic or were they environmentally fueled?
I don't know, but what I put into my environment could very well have an impact here. Look,
We better find out about that environment. What was it?
Bertie, I was a pot smoker. I was a stoner.
For a day?
No, for a couple of decades.
What?
For a couple of decades.
For 20 years?
At least. Probably slightly longer. I smoked pot every single day.
Mate, Bob Dylan.
Look, they love to, these stoner icons.
Yeah.
They love to. Look, I've got no problem with people who smoke pot now, and I believe in all the medicinal,
Plant medicines?
Yep,
Yeah.
the purposes they have. But I think it's like anything. You abuse it, and it will stuff you over.
Yeah.
I abused it, mate.
Yeah.
I abused it
What does abuse of it look like?
daily. Just not doing it, not choosing to do it. I wasn't. Once I got into that daily habit, it wasn't a choice. It was a necessity. Now, when I say daily, I wasn't wake up, have a joint, and off you go. I was as soon as the day was done, bang until bedtime. Yeah. If I was on holidays, there'd be brekkie bongs.
You'd call that an addiction?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
100%, without a doubt. Because when it came time to want to stop, and I wanted to stop heaps of times, tried, couldn't.
Yeah.
Or let's say, not say tried, couldn't. Tried, failed.
Yeah.
Tried, failed. Tried, failed. Went 2 weeks. How good is this?
Yeah.
Oh, we could just do it once. And look, so did that cause my depression? It's chicken or egg here. I don't know. Did I get depression, and was I using that to self-medicate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So to come back to your question, I abused marijuana for 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
Don't do it anymore. Haven't for a long time now. Would never go back.
Why? You felt there was some benefits. You even mentioned before that with many of the plant medicines, you believe that they could actually hold value.
Well, yeah, but again, like any type of medication, Bernie, take it if you've got an ailment to need to fix. You're gonna if you take pot to cure pain as pain relief, are you going to take it if you don't have any pain?
Yeah.
Are you going to go and pop some Panadol if you don't have any pain?
Yeah.
If you're doing that, you're using it for a different reason.
Different purpose. Yeah, different purpose. I have heard someone say recently to me, in fact, I can let you know who it was, Matthew Barber, in one of the early episodes. He experimented with the psychedelics, and he claims real value in the experience, but he did warn. He said, you've got to make sure that you don't fall in love with the joy and the pleasure that it brings, because if you do, you become addicted to the pleasure rather than seeking the benefit and the value.
There, perfect.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you, Matthew Barber.
Yep. I like the fact that it zonked me out for the night. Didn't have to think. I think I like any type of self-medicating, for want of a better phrase, using a substance. And a lot of people, alcohol is the thing, because that's the one thing our society tolerates, and is totally 100% acceptable.
Yeah.
You're using it to escape from whatever it is in life that's bringing you down. And but human beings in Western society mostly, alcohol or pot or anything like that, they're trying to numb something that they don't want to feel.
Wow.
And I presume I was doing that. And whether that was depression, whether it was other things going on in my life, again, this is the journey of life and discovering what that is and why you're doing it and whether you can conquer it.
And that's, of course, what we must dwell upon very, very shortly, is the actual effect. You went down that particular journey, and as a result of that journey, it has led you to, dare I say it, a 12-point pathway to
Sure.
greater, inverted commas, enlightenment about the possibilities of life. You probably wouldn't be here, Adam, had it not been for the road that headed south.
Yep.
Now you're on a road that's heading north and upwards.
Yeah.
Because of the experiences of the past.
For sure.
Can I ask you, you did say it zonked you out. You almost looked forward to being zonked out.
Yeah.
What is the danger of just being zonked out all the time? If that happens repeatedly over and over again, I'm just seeking the zonked out experience. Who do you become?
Well, I wasn't living life. It was just a daily go do what you need to do to be able to be existing in our society. I have money to pay rent. I have money to get food. I have enough to live life, do the bare minimum to exist in society.
Yeah.
Then for the rest of the time, stay and watch TV.
Yeah.
That's it. That was it. That was that was it.
It sounds as if the outcome was it just made you exist without movement, without go forward, without go up. Yeah. But how remarkable that, as we alluded before, that experience over 2 decades has actually led you to where you are now and the way that you see things now. Yeah. Talk to us therefore about love in your life. Talk to us about where does love fit into your life? How does love now flourish in your life as a result of those experiences? Where is love in your life?
Where is love? It's two energies combining where you're bringing the most positive energy you possibly can. That's what love is. It's the most positive, amazing, I think, interaction of two energies.
How old are your 2 children now?
They're 13 and 16.
I know it sounds the funniest, queerest question. Here we go. But as a result of the space that you're in now, do you actually love them more?
Absolutely.
Elaborate.
Look, it's more about me, being able to bring love to every interaction that I have with them, or trying to, because I'm still nowhere near perfect. I still lose my shit occasionally. I still yell. They still frustrate me. But each time I look at that, I step back and go, why the hell did I do that?
Yeah.
Could I have done that differently? Because that wasn't bringing love.
Yeah. So, that's an awareness.
Well, this is what I'm trying to get to with this whole entire conversation, Bernie. It's about, and this becomes down to, look again, these key words that we keep throwing: emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Looking back at an emotion that you let get control of you afterwards and think, why did that happen?
Yeah.
I could have done that so differently if I didn't let that emotion play out. Because you look back 2 days later and you think, we didn't have to go through that.
I just heard something beautiful in what you just said, Adam. You mentioned, we mentioned before about being zonked out in that existence. But in that existence, there is only awareness, and it's all about poor self. It's all about the existing self. But now you just described about how even to your children, you see the opportunity to love them more as a gift. It comes from you, within you, but it flows outwards. Whereas the existence you described before was one in which everything was poor me, wallow, wallow, wallow. Now we experience life because we have the choice of being in a state of which you approve for self, so that you now have the choice to give and to add value to even your children.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, look, it extends beyond that. It's to everything where you can.
Wow. That makes love a lifestyle. That's not just love for a child.
Yep.
That's not just love for parents or love for a treasured one.
Yep.
This is love a lifestyle. Yeah.
Yep. And look, this is, I come back again to, and I just always try to bring myself back to this. the only measure of my success in life is my personal growth. And this is the core of that personal growth for me, and I think, almost for anyone. How much more love can you give and remove what isn't?
Well, I think you should refine your mission statement, mate. to your purpose is to embrace personal growth so that you become a more loving human being. It seems to be as if the loving human being is the outcome, the desired outcome of your growth. Does that fit?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, personal development is the tool that gets you there.
Yeah.
And it, to bring it all into that, the other thing is wherever possible, realise it's your mind and your ego that stops it 99% of the time.
Yeah, and so therefore the 12 actionable steps there are there really to manage and in a way purify, keep at bay that mind and the ego so that you can be the perfect energy of love that you speak about. And so we've got to learn to be who we already are. Like, wow. It's almost as if we don't even have to find it or discover it more, because you're saying, perfect, we already are it. We just got to learn to manage mind and ego and self so that allows us to be it.
And get out of autopilot and observe it.
It's another phrase for the same thing. But what I'm interested in now is, because you also mentioned it even shows in love for your parents, not just your children. So therefore, I'm assuming that also shows in different actions. At the end of the day, you can say we love more, but it's got to be love in action. So what different actions now, for example, would you give to your parents or even your children that you didn't give once before? How is that greater love? What does it look like in action?
Well, it almost comes back to something I've already talked about. It's self-awareness of how you are acting and realising when you're bringing love to a situation and realising when you're not. But the challenge and the where I can continually get better on that is not realising afterwards, which is where I'm at the moment in reflection. It's trying to actually bring that to realising in the moment.
Yeah.
So that you can change right then and there that I'm about to explode because you didn't do this or you've done that. Not exploding and then 2 hours later going, wow, that was interesting. Why did I let my emotions get hold of me there? That wasn't real pleasant. Did I bring love to that scenario? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's realising just as you're about to do it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm trying to get to.
Can I give you some specific examples? And even an experience that you and I had this morning. We were talking about, we don't need to go into it, we were talking about sufficiency versus wanting more, And I could hear your connection with one part of that philosophy and me with another connection to the other part of the philosophy. And I just felt a moment of love in which it was not necessary to try to be right.
No.
It wasn't necessary to try to protect the philosophy that I believe in, nor was it, any need to fight the philosophy that you believe in. The loving moment said to me, guess what? It's okay to be different. Just let it go.
But I love that. We could spend a whole nother hour talking about the need to be right.
Yeah.
And how that ruins life.
That's ego. We said that at exactly the same time.
But we are just so driven to do it innately, and that's autopilot.
Yeah.
That's autopilot.
Yeah.
It's and it gets you, because I still do it, and this is everything that, again, step back and observe it, and that's the only way you can actually try to then change it in the moment.
Yeah. Belly, take us forward. Like in this current journey that you're in, and by your own admission, some of the highlights of it have only been in the last 2 or 3 months for you.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, amateur.
Absolutely.
Did I say that? That was supposed to be a joke, dear people.
No, but look, that I don't mind that, because that means I've got so much more to work on, so much more growth to have.
No.
Because if you actually ever think you're not an amateur at what we're talking about,
Beautifully said.
You're actually in the wrong place, because you should always be an amateur, realising you'll never be a professional, because when you're a professional from this amateur spot now, you're still an amateur to the next level. Makes sense?
And that's why I just recognise that my comment was full of ego, mate, because you're spot on, mate. When is the journey ever over?
Never.
There is always a higher degree.
Absolutely.
So, Belly, where's all this going to take you? What's ahead for Adam Bell?
For years and years and years, I've been wanting to do all of these things and telling myself, this week, next Monday, hang on, let's start in January. Didn't do it last week. I've just had depression again. There's always. But this is the first, I know I've got to go and tick those boxes at the end of the day. And I get, if I've had a bad one and I'm only on 4, I think, no, go meditate. We need the numbers up. So, and it won't be like that forever. My goal is that I get to this, and I'm just doing this naturally now because it gives me a better life, and I give more love out, which is my ultimate goal through doing it.
There was a turning point, mate. You can't know all this for all these years, and now you are on a pathway of wanting to be what you know. You were aware, but right now you want to be it, and you actually know in your heart of hearts that perfect energy that you are love, you carry around that in your pocket every day. You know that is your reality. That's why I said before, it ain't possible to go back. Is it possible to have blockages and hurdles along the way? Hey, welcome to humanity. I get that. But now you know it. And that's always going to be calling you forward. I want to know, what was the catalyst? There was a turning point. There was a moment. There was a day. There was a week. There was an event. What was it?
Look, I think that can be quite often the case, but I don't know that there was one defining moment or event that made this happen. It's been building probably for 12 months. Look, it's been building for 10 years, but in the last 12 months, I've just thought, I'm sick of being where I'm at.
That's it.
I'm no further along all right, you want the thing. It was to realise that, hang on, it's not the big house, it's not the big car, it's not me being able to show off shiny things and be able to tell someone I've done this that is the measure of my success.
Yeah.
It's my personal growth.
Yeah.
That is it. That's the moment.
Yeah.
And unless I do something about that,
Yeah.
I'll always be here.
Yeah.
And I love that you just said it's now me about being, because there's another saying I love, Bernie, and that's something I got from a course years ago. And that's what this 100-day goal is all about. It's be, do, have.
Yeah.
Because we actually think if we have stuff, we'll do stuff and then become someone. It's usually, we're taught it's the opposite.
Yeah.
But if you actually become the right person, and then your actions will follow. So do is the action. So be. This is about being.
Yeah.
Well, everything I'm doing now, it's 100 days goal to change my being, because that will lead into the actions I'll be doing, and then having the desires that I have.
Yeah.
Which in turn will allow me to be more and do more and have more.
Absolutely, we'll reinforce
Be,
it.
do, have,
Yeah.
Not have, do, be. All the things we are taught to believe are measures of your success in life aren't.
Wow.
And if you can just better yourself and improve yourself as a human being and how you relate to others and what you bring to other living things on this planet, that is the measure of your growth. And if I can show somehow others that what that's brought to my life and how it changes. And guess what? You want to know the funny thing, Bernie?
Go for it.
It's material things that we set as the measures of success. You do this, they're actually going to come anyway.
Yeah.
But they're a byproduct of it. And look, that doesn't mean that someone who isn't working on personal growth can't achieve amazing things with material. But I'm telling you, you take this path, they'll come anyway. But that's not your mission.
They'll come anyway if we want them. That was the point. If you want them, you know. I embrace this path. I think, that's part of the reason why I do the podcast. I got to be honest with you, mate. I want experiences rather than things. You know?
Well, that too.
Give me those Nepal Himalayas, mate.
Yeah.
That's why I can feel comfortable about going back there between mid-November and mid-December for 5 weeks by myself, mate. And I'm going to embrace the Langtang trek, another 10-day Vipassana retreat in Nepal or India. Might even look up what Sadhguru is doing in India, because he does some remarkable workshops. But mate, just that dedication to growth, that to me is just beautiful, beautiful life.
I'm enjoying it, mate. I'm enjoying it.
Mate. Well, I'm enjoying this podcast, this discussion, as you called it. Finish it off for us, please, mate. And I want you to finish off with this question, and just take a breath before you answer it. What is love to you now? How do you see love?
Look, I'm going to give it to you in one sentence. That may sound cliched, but it's not when you really think about it. And if you listen to what we've talked about today, it's bringing light to darkness.
Wow. Mate.
Because it's easy to bring light to light.
Yeah.
Bring light to darkness. That's where you bring, let's say, positivity to negativity. Light to darkness says it so much better, but I'm trying to explain, if people are out there wanting to think it, where there is darkness, you bring light no matter how hard it is.
Mate, guess what? I got water in the eyes.
And
hey?
There's plenty of examples of this throughout life. And again, check this. I'm not going to say it's absolutely true, but the one thing is it Mahatma Gandhi when he was shot, and as he's falling to the ground. About to die, he looks at the guy who's just shot him and says, I love you.
Yeah.
That's bringing light to darkness.
Yeah. Billy, I have a feeling that you're going to bring a lot of light. Not that A Journey with Bernie was in darkness.
I brought light to Bernie. Look, have a look at us on YouTube, people. This is light to where there was darkness.
I think that's where I was just going to ask you to finish off with. As a result of this beautiful, wonderful discussion, and I told you it would be, what would be your last message just to our listeners here?
Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. Like, share, comment. But Bernie, I'm your podcast manager, mate. What do you think I'm going to say? Share, comment.
So by pressing that button, you turn on the lights.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
And the purpose of that, dear people, is pretty darn simple because of the nature of this podcast, the objective of this podcast, what we're trying to achieve. Wouldn't you agree that it would just be fantastic if one day, and it will happen, we're going to have hundreds of thousands of followers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, because
there's so many more people that need to hear the messages of your guests.
This is it. And mate, you should see the collective message that comes out of all the episodes so far. And interesting enough, the collective overlaps. That is interesting. But also the collective differentiations. I never thought there could be so many actions and strategies, and in your words, to find light in our lives and to be the light to so many other people.
Especially where there's darkness.
Mate, Billy, can I thank you ever so much, mate?
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
thank
welcome.
you for taking the podcast to another level with this visual experience that's about to explode on YouTube. But also, mate, and just as important, perhaps even more so, for sharing your story this morning, mate. There are going to be people out there that can relate to your journey. And as a result of that, they've got part of the 12-point script that they can call upon in order to improve their lot in life. Hey, if I asked you, please, for the 12 points in dot point, not now, but could I put that in the description notes?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so in that way, people can actually access those actionable steps.
Sure.
Adam Bell, thank you very, very much, mate. And as we always sign off, Thank you for being part of a Journey with Bernie.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, dear folks. Love you all. Bye. Well, dear listeners, what did you think of that? Personally, I absolutely loved it. Now, what did I love about it? I just love that every story of our guest just lends itself for us identifying more actions and strategies, routines, disciplines on how you and I can become a more loving human being, one that can generate greater inner happiness within ourselves. Why? Let's bring meaning, greater meaning to our humble and beautiful lives. Now, I need you to spread the love with me. Are you in it with me? Because all you have to do is please press the follow button. What about subscriber? I need you to share these with your good friends and family. And I need your feedback because I'm looking you in the eyes and I'm saying I am dedicated to taking this podcast to be absolutely world class. Why? I just want more people to embrace this beautiful game called life. Why not? Unless you believe in reincarnation, we're only getting one chance. Let's maximize it. Let's get on with the journey of life. Embrace it, enjoy it. Oh, and just remember this.